Welcome to the Relitalks. Across cultures, across continents, across thousands of years, humans have looked to the heavens, to the earth, and within themselves for meaning. In our search for truth, we've turned to sacred words. Words that became scriptures. Scriptures that became lifelines. Lifelines that have shaped entire civilizations. Today, we embark on a journey through the sacred texts of 5 of the world's great religions: Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, Judaism, and Buddhism. This isn't just about religion, it's about story, it's about spirit, it's about what we hold sacred. So wherever you are, listening on your phone, watching on a screen, or simply pausing for a moment of reflection, we invite you to open your heart and listen. Islam, the living word of God. Subtle Arabic music begins. For over 9 billion Muslims around the world, the Quran is the ultimate source of guidance. It's not merely a book to be read. It's believed to be the literal word of God, revealed to the Prophet Muhammad over the course of 23 years. The Quran was revealed in Arabic, a language of deep rhythm, precision, and beauty. It is divided into 114 surahs, or chapters, and over 6,000 ayahs, or verses. From its opening lines, "In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful," to its closing call for righteousness, the Quran speaks of justice, mercy, faith, charity, and the inner struggle between good and evil. Muslims recite its verses in prayer, memorize it word for word, sometimes by the age of 10, and carry it in their hearts. A Hafiz, someone who has memorized the entire Quran, is deeply respected in the community. But the Quran isn't just about memorization, it's about transformation. Its verses challenge the reader to reflect, to seek knowledge, and to purify the soul. In a quiet mosque at dawn, a recitation of the Quran echoes through the air, not just as a performance, but as a sacred act. To hear it is to feel its depth. To recite it is to be changed by it. For Muslims, the Quran is more than a sacred text. It is the eternal voice of God, calling humanity to truth. Christianity, the word made flesh. Soft choir music or piano begins. For over 2 billion Christians, the sacred text is the Bible. But the Bible isn't just a book. It's a collection of books, written over centuries by poets, prophets, fishermen, kings, and scholars. It contains stories of creation, exile, covenant, and redemption. The Bible is divided into 2 main parts: the Old Testament, which tells the ancient story of Israel, and the New Testament, which centers on the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. In Genesis, we read, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." In the Psalms, we hear the cries and praises of the human heart. "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." And in the Gospels, we meet a teacher who walked among the poor, healed the broken, and preached love for enemies. For Christians, the Bible is not just history, it's alive. It's the Word made flesh, a reference to Jesus himself. The Bible is read in churches, studied in homes, and quoted in times of joy and sorrow. It has comforted the grieving, inspired movements for justice, and shaped the laws and ethics of entire nations. For many, it's a daily companion, guiding decisions, renewing hope, and pointing toward grace. Hinduism, the eternal sound. Hinduism is one of the world's oldest religions, and so are its sacred texts. There is no single holy book in Hinduism. Instead, there's a vast and sacred library, a layered tradition passed down through millennia. At the heart are the Vedas, the oldest scriptures in Sanskrit, known as Shruti, or that which is heard. These were transmitted orally by sages for centuries, chants, mantras, and hymns vibrating through the air before they were ever written down. Then come the Upanishads, spiritual dialogues that explore the mysteries of the universe and the soul. "You are that," one verse says, pointing to the Atman, the soul within, as not separate from Brahman, the ultimate reality. And then there's the Bhagavad Gita, perhaps the most beloved Hindu text. It tells the story of a warrior, Arjuna, frozen by moral dilemma on a battlefield, and his divine charioteer, Krishna, who teaches him about duty, devotion, and detachment. For Hindus, sacred texts are not just commandments, they're paths. They don't just tell you what to do, they help you understand who you are. They're recited in homes, temples, and during rituals that mark birth, marriage, and death. For many, the sound of sacred verses is not just beautiful, it's believed to be a form of the divine itself. Judaism, the living covenant. In Judaism, the sacred text begins with Torah, meaning instruction or law. It includes the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. In synagogues around the world, the Torah is handwritten on scrolls of parchment and housed in ornate arks. It is read aloud each week, not just as a tradition, but as a sacred moment of renewal. The Torah tells of creation, the patriarchs, the exodus from Egypt, and the giving of the law at Sinai. It's about a covenant, a sacred relationship between God and the Jewish people. But the story doesn't end there. Jewish sacred text includes the Tanakh, the full Hebrew Bible, alongside the prophets and writings like Psalms, Proverbs, and Job. And then there's the Talmud, an immense collection of rabbinic commentary that reflects centuries of debate, dialogue, and discovery. To study the Torah is not just to read, it is to wrestle with it. Jewish tradition values questioning, interpretation, and discussion. A sacred text is not a closed book, it's a conversation across generations. For Jews, sacred text is the heartbeat of the community. It's sung, chanted, memorized, studied late into the night. It is the voice of God and the response of the people. Buddhism, the path to awakening. Buddhism begins not with a god, but with a man. Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, who lived over 2,500 years ago in India. After attaining enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, the Buddha began to teach. His teachings were preserved by his followers in texts that form the Buddhist canon. In Theravada Buddhism, the sacred scriptures are called the Tripitaka, or 3 baskets. They include the Vinaya Pitaka, rules for monastic life, the Sutta Pitaka, the Buddha's discourses, and the Abhidhamma Pitaka, philosophical and psychological analysis. In Mahayana traditions, texts like the Heart Sutra, Lotus Sutra, and Diamond Sutra guide practitioners on the path of compassion and wisdom. These texts are not commandments, they are invitations to reflect, to observe the mind, to let go of suffering, to awaken. Buddhist texts are chanted in temples, studied in monasteries, and quietly reflected upon by lay people. For Buddhists, sacred texts are like lamps in the dark, not demanding belief, but offering light for the journey inward. Conclusion: words that echo in the soul, emotional music swells. So, what is a sacred text? Is it a scroll, a verse, a prayer, a revelation? Yes, but it's also something more. It's a lifeline in grief, a compass in chaos, a whisper in silence, a cry for outro dambithority 20 dendro. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the sacred texts of the world's major religions. If you found this video insightful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Relitalks, where we bring you respectful, thoughtful explorations of faith, history, and meaning. Until next time, stay curious, stay open-hearted,